Good morning, everyone, or good afternoon, I guess. It's time for STEM with Miss Amy and Millie. We've had a little technical difficulty, so we are running a little late today. Hello, Spencer. This is actually take 2 for the crew, so let's see if Millie is eager to come out. Oh, yeah, she is. So, yeah, I was causing trouble earlier, pestering Spencer. Ready to come on out and show the kids what we're doing today? Here. Let's see what we've got on the table today. All right, so today we're going to be making a birdhouse. And what we need to make a birdhouse, the rat you definitely don't need. But we need some permanent markers, a coffee can. I've gone and I've spray painted mine. Some scissors and either string or twine or this is that rubber coated wire that Millie loves so much. She loves that rubbery covering. What are you looking for? And here comes Spencer. He's going to investigate too. All right. So I'm going to clip you in because I discovered yesterday that it's much easier to draw if I have 2 hands. So I want to introduce you to our bird of the day, which is this bird right here. This is called a bluebird. And the eastern bluebird, which is the one that lives where we live in New Jersey, has it's a cousin of the robin. And so you can see it's the same shape and almost the same size as a robin, but instead of black and gray feathers and a red tummy, it's got blue feathers and an orangish reddish tummy. And so I'll show you. This is the boy bluebird, the male. He's bright blue. And then that's the girl bluebird. And she's got the same colors, but she's not quite as bright. Now, bluebirds are not nest builders the way that robins are. They're what we call cavity dwellers. And a cavity is just a fancy science word for a hole. And that's why bluebirds if you have a birdhouse in your yard, you might find a bluebird. So they'll move into an old woodpecker hole or a birdhouse, and that's where they like to make their nests. And they also like to eat insects and fruit. So you see in this picture here, there's one, he's actually munching on some sort of bug. And if you look, their beaks are long and thin. That helps them with the catching of their insects. So we're going to go ahead and draw our bluebird. We're going to add our bluebird to our bird journal. And I've already pulled out some of the colors that we need for our bluebird. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to make the bluebird's head. And it's sort of a teardrop shape. So I'm going to go ahead or make like a raindrop, right? That's like a raindrop shape. And we'll give a long pointy beak. And then we'll make the back and the belly. And that's sort of like a boat shape. So if you can make that boat shape, you can make a bluebird. And then the tail comes down off the back. And we know a bluebird has 2 legs. So we'll put those guys in. and 2 eyes. So this is a profile, so we're gonna do one here, maybe one there. And then we know they've got wings. So we'll add some wings to our bluebird. Now, we're gonna look over here and you can see this is sort of reddish, orangish. So I'm gonna take some red. We'll make red feathers by the throat and by the tummy. And then maybe I'll add a little orange, right? Because it's sort of like a reddish orange, so you can mix your colors. And he's got some white feathers too, so we'll leave those in. And then we've got our blue. So we're gonna make our blue wings and our blue tail feathers. And I like to mix my colors, because especially in nature, it's very rare that a thing is only one perfect color. So, and so we'll do some dark blue, some medium blue, and now we've got our bluebird, our New Jersey bluebird. We'll color his beak gray, and then we'll add some details. So we remember they like to eat insects, so I'll make a few mealworms and also fruit. I'll give this guy a strawberry to eat. And you can add whatever details. They're also cavity feeders, right? That means they like to live in holes. So we'll give him a little birdhouse. And now it's time to write his name. So we're gonna write the color blue. And if you want to not cheat, if you want to learn how to look it up, it's always written on your crayons if they're Crayola, B-L-U-E. So we don't even have to sound that one out. We're just going to copy B-L-U-E. And then we'll do bird, B. And now we know, oh, we can even look it up here, B-I-R-D. This one was an easy one today. We just looked it all up. We took blue from the crayon, and bird, we copied it right off our field guide. So kiss your brain. That's super duper smart. And so we'll close up our bird journal for today. Tomorrow we're going to meet some of my favorites. If it's a sunny day, we might even get to go outside in my garden and see them for real, because we have a pair that likes to live in our garden. So our book today that we're going to read is called Rikkis Bird House, and it's written and illustrated by Monica Wellington. And we'll see, I have this nifty, let's see if we can, there we go. Is that better? So you can see the whole page. You can kind of see my face. There I am. We don't want a repeat of what happened in that Facebook Live. That was a tragedy. So we will begin with Rikkis Bird House by Monica Wellington. All year long, many different kinds of birds come to Ricky's yard. He loves to watch them and feed them and listen to them sing. The pair that flash their blue feathers are new to his yard. So he knows the woodpecker and the cardinal and the blue jay and the wren and the goldfinch, but he's never seen these two. So what does he do? Like any good scientist, he looks it up. He goes to his guide for birds and he matches the picture, right? And he says, oh, there's a bluebird. It's a cousin of the robin. So just like we looked it up in our bird guide, so does Ricky. Millie, I can't with you. She's doing her trick where she likes to roll the garbage can. Maybe we can get her to do that after. Ricky wants the beautiful bluebirds to stay in his yard. He has an idea. Ricky draws up a plan for his project. He gets out his toolbox and gathers all the supplies he will need. Ricky measures and saws the wood into 6 pieces. He makes a small round opening in one piece. He puts the parts together, carefully following his plan. He glues and hammers and sands. He paints and adds the finishing touches. Ricky has built a beautiful birdhouse. He picks a safe place to mount it in his yard. He has made the house especially for the bluebirds. He is hoping they will settle into it and make their home. And he has a bird journal too. He says, October 21st, I hope the bluebirds will stay here this winter. So just like he's writing down what he sees in his book, we do it in ours too, every day. Winter comes. Some birds have flown south to warmer places. Many birds have stayed, but it is hard for them to find enough food. Seeds and berries are buried under the snow. Ricky prepares some special foods to put out for the birds. And look, he's made bird feeders like we've done, right? Here's the one on the rice cake. And here's one he made out of a pine cone. Some fruit. Ricky loves to play in the snow in his yard. The birds play too. And look, he's got all different kinds of bird feeders for different kinds of birds. But when it is dark, Ricky is happy to be warm inside. He hopes the bluebirds are sleeping in the birdhouse, cozy and protected at night. In the spring, many birds migrate back from the south and return to Ricky's yard. They start to build their nests. Ricky helps them by putting out extra supplies, such as scraps of fabric and yarn. He is excited to see the bluebirds going in and out of the birdhouse. They must be building a nest in there. So look, he hung up fabric and yarn just like we did when we made our nest builders, our nest makers, right? Ricky is busy working in his garden. It is time to plant sunflowers. The birds love them, and he does too. He keeps a close eye on the birdhouse. He hopes the mother bluebird is sitting on her eggs now, keeping them warm. There are going to be baby birds soon. And I don't know if I told you, we have a robin that's building a nest in our backyard. I'm going to try to get some video of that so you can see. And here's his bird journal. Today I'm going to count all the birds I see in my yard. Cheep, cheep, cheep. Ricky spots 3 baby bluebirds in the birdhouse. The parents are very busy finding good food for them to eat. The little birds love worms and insects. Oh, here's his bird journal. The early bird catches the worm. It rained last night. There are lots of worms today. I've got a rainy day down by me, so the worms are going to come out soon. In the summer, there are many beautiful birds in Ricky's yard. The sunflowers are growing tall, and there are lots of good things for the birds to eat. Best of all, the young bluebirds are learning to fly and fend for themselves. Ricky loves to listen to them sing, and he sings along with them too. And look, he's got a bird bath for them to come and get a drink of water. He's got everything that the birds would need. Ricky harvests the sunflower seeds in the fall. Everyone is getting ready for winter. Soon it will be cold, and Ricky will start feeding the birds extra food again. He has more projects on his mind. He wants to build more birdhouses for more birds in his yard. It's time to get out the toolbox again. And that's the end. So in the back of this book, this is also a nice one. The author gives us instructions for doing certain things. Here's a plan if you want to build one out of wood. So I know last year a lot of you guys learned how to use hammers and saws and nails. So this is a project that if you had a grown-up helping you, and if you had some scrap wood, you would be able to do this. There's lots of plans, but mom and dad are going to have to look up online how to actually do that, because birds are fussy. And we'll talk more about that when we make our coffee can birdhouse. Whenever you hang up a birdhouse, you want to make sure that you hang it at least 5 feet off the ground, because we don't want cats or raccoons to be able to go on in and get at the eggs. And you want to face it so that the hole doesn't face the sun, because then that will heat up the birdhouse super hot. And usually if you hang it up in the spring, you might not see anybody move in until the fall. Birds like to live in things that have been out in the environment for a little bit while. And so there's some information on birds and feeders, and also bird food cupcakes, which if we were in school, I would make them with you guys, but I'm not sure if you guys all have the ingredients at home, so maybe we'll save that as a special project for when we're all back together. So right now we're going to make our coffee can birdhouse. Now I went and I found a cylinder can. It can be, ours was coffee. Heaven knows how we wound up with a coffee can. But, you know, formula or iced tea, whatever you have. And then I went and I spray painted it just because I would like to do some decorating on it. So that's step 1. Then step 2 is we have to cut the opening. And the size of the opening and the size of the can is going to depend on what kind of bird you get. Now this can is a small can, so I'm going to make a sort of small opening for a sort of small bird, because a big bird is not going to be happy living in this can. And a big bird would not even be able to lay eggs in the can. So like the birdhouse we built yesterday might attract a bigger bird, and this one would be for a smaller one. So the same as we did yesterday, we're going to sketch out our little hole, our door. Yes, you're coming, Millie? And now a coffee can lid is pretty easy to cut with just a regular scissor. So I fold mine, and just with my scissor, go ahead and give it a snip. Are you that smart that you saw me opening a can and thought there would be some food in it? I don't know. Sometimes I think my animals are smarter than I am. So we're going to cut our hole in the can. Now the trick with the hole is you don't want it so big that an animal like a cat or a possum or a raccoon can get in there and get the eggs. So you want to leave it small enough so that a bird can get in, but not so big that a predator can get in and get the eggs. So it is a little bit tricky. Then comes the fun part, right? Easy peasy. If you really want to be a good friend to the bird, you'll take a hammer and nail and put a few drainage holes in the bottom, only because we don't want the babies to get wet feet in there. But you don't want to put too many holes in. Birds are very fussy, because you have to remember the mom has to sit on the nest to keep the eggs warm. So if they think, yes, welcome. Yes, and the irony of this is, boys and girls, that's not even our doorbell. Through the magic of science, whenever our neighbors press their doorbell, our doorbell rings. So that we're not even getting any mail right now. So anyway, you don't want to put too many holes in it, because if it's breezy and cold, then the eggs won't hatch. So birds are pretty fussy. They'll know where to make their nests the best. So we'll say, I'm going to take out my markers and I'm going to write welcome, welcome. And then I might use my permanent markers. Maybe what should we make? Maybe I'll make a bird. So I'll make a head and a beak and a body and some legs. So maybe it'll look friendly. And if it's going to be for bluebirds, we'll color it to look like bluebirds. Todd, can you try to open this for me? Oh, never mind, I got it. I don't know why. So we'll make a little bluebird on this one. So if we remember, right? Blue body. And then what color was their tum? Right, kind of reddish orange. So you can color on your can. You could do rainbows or flowers. Maybe I'll put a butterfly on the other side. I'll make some butterflies on this side. So we're almost done with the decorating part, right? I'll make these monarchs. Make it nice and cheerful for when you hang it in your garden. And then comes the engineering part of it, because we don't want this to roll around as we hang it from the tree. That would be bad for the birds and the eggs inside. So what we want to do is we want to figure out a way to make it stable. And so what I did was, I have my 3 pieces of wire. So I'm going to put one piece in the back. And you, like I said, you could use string for this, but wire is easy. And give it a little twist. And then one piece in the front. And give it a little twist. And then I'm going to take my 3rd piece and go like this and make a hanger on top. And so after I do it and I make sure that it's not going to be too wobbly, then I'll go and I'll tighten all my twists. Now, if you're a big kid and you have string, you could actually practice knot tying, which is a nice, good life skill to learn. But we're trying to make it so that everyone can do it. So I've got my wires that go around and my wire for the hanger. And then when you hang it, you just want to make sure that it's not pointing into the sun. And it should make a nice little place for a small bird to build a nest. Do we have any idea where the queen is?
She ran upstairs.
Oh no, she ran upstairs. Todd's gonna go and try to get her.